What kind of language turns into a battlefield, banned in schools, forbidden in the media, hunted in daily life, yet comes back stronger than before? A language divided among four nations, yet uniting an entire people. It is the Kurdish language, the enigma of survival at the heart of the Middle East. In this journey, we will trace its Indo-European roots and explore the mosaic of its rich dialects. But the deeper story is one of existence and resistance. How did Kurdish evolve from a profound cultural heritage into a high-stakes political question across the region? Stay with us until the end, where we'll reveal linguists' visions for its future and how the dream of a unified Kurdish language might one day come true. Kurdish is deeply rooted in the languages of the ancient Medes and Iranians, and the Kurds are considered their descendants. This connection is not merely genealogical, it is a linguistic inheritance preserved through generations of scholars. In 1930, Vladimir Minorsky established the theory that the Kurds are the linguistic heirs of the ancient Medes, asserting that Kurdish evolved from their dialects. This theory was later reinforced by the renowned British linguist D.N. Mackenzie, who in his 1961 and 1962 studies on Central Kurdish confirmed its independence from neighboring languages and classified it among the northwestern Iranian languages, a group that includes Median. Research did not stop there. By the late 20th century, Ilya Gershevich supported this view through his analysis of the lost and surviving features of ancient Iranian languages. Meanwhile, more recent scholars, such as Garnik Asatrian, have turned their focus toward less common Kurdish dialects like Zazaki and Gorani. These modern approaches, emerging in the 1990s and beyond, treat these dialects as unique linguistic windows that preserve older, more original features, further supporting the theory that Kurdish evolved from the ancient Iranian languages once dominant in Iranian Kurdistan. Historical witnesses from the medieval era also recorded Kurdish presence and language. Muslim travelers and geographers like Ibn Halkal and al-Masudi in the 10th century wrote about a people in the mountainous regions who spoke a distinct tongue. These manuscripts reflect early literary activity, but the true roots of the Kurdish language were embedded in everyday life, in oral poetry, and in the stories passed down by generations. Throughout history, Kurdish was not passive. It both influenced and was influenced by neighboring languages such as Arabic, Turkish, and Persian through long centuries of cultural interaction. Despite persistent efforts to suppress it, aiming to erase its influence, Kurdish preserved its authentic core. Early Kurdish literature and poetry played a decisive role in this survival. Figures like the great poet Ahmed Hani, through his timeless epics, were not merely artists, they were guardians of the language, shielding it from extinction and preserving it as the vessel of Kurdish identity, carrying poetry, history, and memory from one generation to the next. The Kurdish language is not a single uniform entity, but rather a vivid mosaic of dialects, varying from minor to major differences. A stunning diversity shaped by geography, towering mountains and vast plains that isolated Kurdish communities, giving each region its own distinctive voice. The most widespread of these is Kurmanji, or Northern Kurdish. It is spoken by Kurds in Turkey and Syria, as well as parts of Iraqi Kurdistan and Iran's West Azerbaijan province. Its defining feature is its use of the Latin Roman script, which has facilitated its expansion in modern media and cultural production. In contrast, there is Sorani, or Central Kurdish, the official dialect of the Kurdistan region of Iraq, dominant in cities like Sulaymaniyah and Erbil, and widely spoken in Mahabad and Sanandaj in Iranian Kurdistan. Sorani is typically written in a modified Arabic script, adapted to fit its sounds. But the diversity doesn't end there. Kurdish encompasses other broad branches as well. Luri, spoken in the southern and central Zagros Mountains of Iranian Kurdistan, particularly in Lorestan, Kogiluye, and Boyar Ahmad provinces. Gorani, including the Harami dialect, holds exceptional literary and historical importance, and is spoken in the rugged borderlands between Iraq and Iran north of the Sorani region. Laki, too, is found in certain areas of Iranian and Iraqi Kurdistan. And Zazaki, spoken in parts of Turkish Kurdistan such as Diyarbakir and Dersim, is sometimes regarded as a separate language altogether due to its deep linguistic distinctions. Together, these branches enrich the Kurdish linguistic fabric, revealing immense historical depth and cultural diversity. The region's geography, political borders, and centuries of interaction with neighboring civilizations have shaped this linguistic mosaic, making Kurdish a living example of identity expressed through diversity. Within this diversity lies a sensitive geopolitical dimension. After the fall of the Ottoman Empire in the aftermath of World War I, the Kurdish people were divided among four newly formed states: Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. This division was not merely geographic, it profoundly shaped the fate of the Kurdish language itself. Kurdish transformed from a means of communication into a symbol of identity and a direct target of assimilation and systematic repression. For Kurds, defending their language meant defending their very existence. For many regimes, however, Kurdish was seen as a threat to national unity. Across decades, Kurdish faced state-led campaigns of prohibition and denial. In Turkish Kurdistan, a strict ban on Kurdish was imposed, not only in education and administration, but even in everyday life. Authorities went so far as to deny the language's existence, labeling it the mountain language or Eastern Turkish dialect. This policy included criminalizing Kurdish publishing, cultural theft, such as the suppression or appropriation of Jalad Bedirkhan's Kurdish dictionary, and social erasure, replacing Kurdish family names with Turkish ones in official records as part of a total assimilation project. In Syrian Kurdistan, Kurdish remained in the shadows. It was not only banned from education and administration, but also targeted through dangerous political measures. Arabization of place names, systematically replacing Kurdish names with Arabic ones. The Arab Belt Project, which sought to alter the demographic composition along the northern border, reshaping both the geographic and linguistic presence of Kurds. In Iran, Kurdish remained under tight surveillance, with restrictions on publication, education, and independent media. While limited literary spaces existed, they were far narrower than in other languages. In Iraqi Kurdistan, Kurdish experienced a remarkable reversal of fortune. After decades of prohibition under centralized rule, change began to emerge. Before 2005, Kurdish was completely banned in state institutions outside semi-autonomous areas. After 2005, following the fall of the former regime, Kurdish was recognized as an official language alongside Arabic in Iraq's new constitution. It gained a legal and cultural status unmatched elsewhere, entering schools, administration, and the media. The Kurdish struggle for linguistic survival and its endurance in the face of extreme repression is a living testimony to its people's determination. It proves that words can be a shield, an identity, and a weapon all at once. Today, the Kurdish language stands at a critical crossroads. On one side, continuous efforts to revive it through education and media. On the other, persistent political pressures seeking to marginalize it. But the truth remains. Kurdish has never been merely a language. It is the memory of a nation and a battlefield of identity. Amid this complex landscape, one pressing challenge emerges. Can the Kurdish linguistic mosaic ever be unified? For decades, Kurdish intellectuals and linguists have envisioned an ambitious project to build a standardized Kurdish language capable of meeting the future. This vision rests on two main pillars. One, the creation of a comprehensive historical dictionary uniting authentic vocabulary from all dialects, Kurmanji, Sorani, Luri, Haurami, and others, forming a linguistic foundation that transcends political and geographical divisions. 2. The adoption of the Latin alphabet as a unified script, facilitating digital communication and education, and bridging the current divide between Latin-based writing in the north and Arabic-based writing in the center. This is not just a dream on paper. Pioneers like Jalad Badir Khan laid its groundwork decades ago, advocating for the Latin script as a tool of unity. If fully realized, such a project could grant Kurdish immense cultural and geopolitical power, transforming its diversity from a source of division into a source of strength. Yet, this is only one approach. Another proposal advocates for a Kurdish Koine language, a standardized written form combining the most common elements of Kurmanji and Sorani, merging shared grammar and vocabulary under a unified orthography. This would create a shared language for education and media, while allowing local dialects to flourish in daily life. Others argue for a simpler path, standardizing Kurdish around Sorani, given its official status in Iraqi Kurdistan and its institutional presence. They propose enriching Sorani to make it the linguistic standard, though this faces opposition from Kurmanji speakers who point out their broader geographic and historical reach. A third school of thought embraces official multilingualism, recognizing both Kurmanji and Sorani as co-equal standards. Under this model, each dialect would be taught regionally, with cross-dialectal education fostering mutual understanding and unity without forced assimilation. Between these visions, one truth stands clear. The future of Kurdish will depend on the ability to balance unity and diversity, heritage and innovation. A language that has survived thousands of years now prepares to face its next great challenge. Its survival and strength will depend on the awareness of its speakers and their power to turn diversity into resilience, not division.
Kurdish has never been just a means of speech. It is a cultural vessel that has carried poetry, music, and folklore across generations. Through the voices of its poets and thinkers, from Ahmad Khani to Jigar Khuin, it became a cry for freedom, a foundation for national consciousness, and a refuge of identity in times of hardship. It is more than a language. It is the memory of a nation and a continuing struggle for existence. In the next episode, we will leave words behind and dive into the world of Kurdish colors, music, and traditions. Don't miss this journey. Subscribe and turn on notifications to catch the next chapter as soon as it's released.